Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TBM crew. Today, I'm so happy to have with me F B Hogan, who's one of the loveliest people on the community and a terrific horror writer. Hello, how are
Mhm.
you?
Thank you. Hi, I'm great. I'm really good. Yeah,
I'm so happy to see you again. It's been a long time since we made a video.
I know. It has actually. It's a good. It's the last year, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
no, crazy. So mad. Oh no, no.
Okay.
So happy to be here. It's great to see you again. Seems like
Yes.
it has been a while.
I know. You have a new book out, right?
I do. Yeah, I have a
Yes.
new book out. That's not horror, so that's just a
Mhm.
contemporary fiction. Yeah, that was a long time coming out. It took me about 9 years to actually get that out and
Wow.
feel happy about it. It was kind of like my first ever book, so I'm still traumatized from it coming out.
That
Yeah,
happens. That happens. I know the feeling.
I know,
These
I
projects that take
know,
forever.
I know. It's funny because it's something that I wrote when I ruptured my Achilles tendon dancing at a school reunion, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm a bit of a
Okay.
dangerous dancer. And I was laid up for a long time. I know. So I took a few people down with me though, so it's all right. But I was laid up for a long time, and that's actually when I wrote my. That was actually my first thing that I ever wrote, for publication. So
Yeah.
it was a long time coming, but it was the first thing that kind of got me out of the closet, the
Mm.
writer's closet, and admitted that I'm a writer. So it was a big deal for it to come out, and it seems to be doing okay. So now I'm back writing, scribbling horror again. So it's refreshing. Horror's my go-to. Relaxing.
Yeah.
The thing that I enjoy writing the most, and it's fun, and it's
Yeah.
never it's never hassle. It's never hard for me to write horror. I just it's my fun place.
That's
If that
awesome.
sounds good.
We all need a fun place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, why don't you tell us a bit what kind of horror do you write?
I suppose majority of the stuff I write because I'm very fun because I just love writing in it would be Gothic horror. Because I'm
Okay.
a huge fan of Poe and
Yes.
Lovecraft and Ramsey Campbell and um Shirley Jackson, and I just love that whole genre. I think I was born in the wrong period of time. I should have been born in Victorian times.
Me
I
too.
probably would have I probably would have been a medium at a séance or something. But I just love that whole genre, and I think it just adds so much atmosphere, and I think that's why I'm drawn to it because it is very atmospheric horror.
Mhm.
So I do tend to favor Lovecraft a bit because I'm obsessed with the whole, Cthulhu's mythos, and wearing
Yes.
my Cthulhu t-shirt
Yes, I
today.
know. I was thinking that.
But it's probably back to front. But yeah, no, I'm just obsessed with that. But I mean, I love to write contemporary horror as well. I
Okay.
mean, in the more kind of bizarre, strange, quirky type of I don't even know if it is an actual genre, but in when anything can happen, you know, it's kind of like what if this happened, ridiculously crazy scenario to just an ordinary person, which I know is kind of a Stephen King trope as well. Just
Yes.
takes someone ordinary and then just makes something, some insane thing happen overnight. Like in The Mist, or just bizarre things happening to people, and obviously throw in a vampire here and there because I absolutely love vampires, but then that's gothic horror again. But
Yes.
I'd love to kind of do maybe some kind of sci-fi horror. That's something I'm interested in doing. So I
Okay.
guess I need to read a lot more of that kind of stuff just to get a feel for it. But yeah, I don't really set out to do one genre or another. I just get an idea, and it just comes from there.
Hmm. And do you have any favorite book or any influence in a sci-fi horror that you're exploring?
Um,
Because that's an interesting field.
Yeah, to be honest, the only kind of sci-fi horror that I have been reading is the more bizarre type of, Lovecraftian type stuff,
Yes.
It's really something that I haven't read a huge lot about. So it's kind of research that I have to do, but fun research.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Hmm.
that's always fun. Right.
But if you've got any tips on good sci-fi horror writers, I'd love to know. Any new
Hmm.
modern stuff. Um,
I have to think about it, but I'm
mm,
sure I know
yeah.
a handful of them. Yes. Yes, because a sci-fi um, gives a lot of room for
Yes,
horror because at
exactly.
the end is the horror of the unknown, maybe not
Exactly.
in paranormal
Yeah.
kind of way, not the unknown like demons and all of that, but the unknown of well, you never know what can happen out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like in, that in that film, the horror that was out recently, it was on Netflix, Nope.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Yeah,
one?
yes.
The turns out to, I mean that's an alien story, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so strange and weird and
Yeah.
creepy, because of the way it's shot and everything. But it's yeah, I mean that was an interesting film.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like
Well,
that.
I guess this whole idea of outer space, that's that's already terrifying. Just like the sea, like the ocean. I think it's like a mirror kind of horror.
Mm,
We don't know either where's up there or down there. We have no idea. And I guess that
exactly.
that thought is
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah. Oh, then you've just made me think of something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
A cult demonic type horror. I love,
Okay.
I
Yes, you like?
absolutely, absolutely love it.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, a bit obsessed with it. And I've done a couple of short stories that would be kind of in that genre, but it's
Oh,
something that I would always look for. If I'm looking for horror to watch, I'd always be, ooh,
mm,
there's a possession one. But probably
that's
that's
awesome. Mm.
probably because of growing up watching like The Omen and
Hmm.
anything evil really,
Yes.
anything evil or Aleister Crowley-ish, it's gonna tick my boxes.
Yes, I think it's really interesting the demonology and the on the occult and all of that because it's a wide field. I mean, and again, maybe
Mm,
you could like make a circle and put it together with Gothic again because at the end,
mm,
for example, witches, this kind of horror, they use demons to do whatever they want to do, and witches
mm.
are already can be linked to the Victorian era, and
Yeah,
like right that there's like a thread in
yeah,
there. So
absolutely.
mm,
Yeah,
it's
no.
and demons are so scary because you can't control them. You don't see them.
Well, that's it. Yeah, no, that's it. So I mean, like, there's just so many different ways you could go, really. And that's what's so brilliant about horror, because I mean, it can be anything, really.
Exactly.
I mean, when you're talking about like, kind of even like, aliens and the vast unknown, and how that is scary in itself. And when I was a child, I used to go into my brother's room and talk about the
Yes.
biggest, shark in the sea, and
Mm,
what's the deep, what's the deepest ocean. And my idea
yes.
as a child, I used to go back to bed then. I was very strange. And I used to imagine that I was treading water in the middle of this ocean with no land anywhere at all. Just this
Yes.
little kid in the water. And
Yes.
like way down beneath me was thousands and thousands of feet down, and God knows
Yeah.
whatever's lurking around underneath me. And that used to terrify me, because it was just the vastness and the unknown. And yeah, I used to I
Yes.
used to think about that a lot when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Strange, strange.
Then
But
it's funny because when I was a kid, I had some kind of nightmare in the sea too. Like because I used to swim a lot with my father, like going to that I don't know how you call it, these yellow things that float on the water that it's like they mark where you can swim to, and then you have to
oh,
go back.
okay, yeah,
Then
yeah, kind of like a platform type thing. Yeah.
yes. So with my father, we
Yeah.
used to go swimming there and race back, which is quite a way. So I have this memory of just swimming in the ocean, even if it was near
Mm.
the beach, but well, maybe there's 200 meters to there. So, well,
Mm.
and I remember having this nightmare of being swimming and finding something huge floating and dead.
Oh
Like
God.
a
Yeah.
whale, for example, that you just bump with something that is spinning
Oh
because it's
yes. Oh
dead,
my God.
and you
Oh
start, and the inertia of the water just drags you
yeah.
in, and you start to spinning with it.
Oh
You're
my God.
spinning with a giant corpse, and not
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
what is it because it's so big. You don't know what is it. You
yeah.
just have this cold thing touching yourself, and seeing a huge dead eye rolling.
Oh,
The moment you realize
oh,
that's actually an animal or something like that that is dead, and it's a spinning, and I
Jesus.
can't get out because it's dragging me in that spiral. That used to
Yeah.
terrify me.
Yes, that's horrible. That is really weird because I actually did have it's probably the best dream I ever had actually,
Yeah.
and I wrote it down when I woke up, and I was out. It was the same thing, the same kind of hugeness thing. I was
Mhm.
swimming in a river in like the Amazon or somewhere, as you
Mhm.
do,
Yes.
when you live in Ireland. Excuse me. Anyway, and I was swimming in the water, and this thing went past me, and all I could see was this massive eye, which meant
Yeah.
that it was going to be hundreds of feet long,
Uh,
and then the snout about a couple of I don't know, 100 feet further on or something. And yeah, no, it was terrifying. It was I think I killed it, and then it ended up speaking to me and saying, "Why did you kill me?" And I
oh.
was like really, really messed up dream. But like I wrote it down because I thought I might try and weave it into something but I don't know if it would really make the way the dreams make more sense to you than they do to
Yes.
someone else.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but yeah, it helps to have a fertile imagination,
Yes. Yes,
You
that's I mean, our mind is, I think, when you let go, the unconscious part of the mind has a lot of terrifying
Mm.
material in there.
Oh my God, absolutely.
It's amazing. When I started
Oh,
having this dream, I started thinking, what if it's not a whale? What if it's a giant octopus, for example, and it's dead,
wow.
and you get
Yeah.
mixed with the tentacles,
Yes.
like, and I was like,
Yeah,
no,
like
stop it.
giant squids are so freaky as well. They're so freaky.
That's so
Mm.
scary.
And you can
So,
be very so
mm,
much such lengths. It's insane.
yes, yes. Actually, in the sea, everyone thinks about the sharks and all of that, and I think sharks are the least scary thing in the ocean. I mean, it's a big fish
Mm.
that can eat you, yeah, but there are more
Mm.
scary things in there.
Things that can brush against your leg, and
Ugh.
pull you down. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I know.
That actually, that actually reminds me of I'm trying to think whether it was a Stephen King short story or
Hmm?
John Connolly short story about people that went there was about some town that had been flooded, and it was like a ghost town underwater in a lake,
Okay.
and some person swimming down and getting pulled down by these fronds down to
Ugh.
this tiny little house down the bottom of the
Mm.
lake with this creature in it. And I
Mm.
can't remember whether it was very Stephen King like. So whether
Yeah.
regardless of whether it was John Connolly or not, he does do a good horror short story. But yeah, it was very like just swimming along, and then they get pulled down by these tentacles. It's like some kind of evil um kind of nightmare type mermaid thing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, mermaids. That's another one. Mermaids are so scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it got fangs.
Yes.
Thank goodness them.
They can be so ugly.
Yeah.
And here we have this village that is under the water too, because how do you call it? Dams that they fill a place with water, and
Okay.
they just flooded the village. They emptied everyone and flooded the village to be able to make one of those. And when it goes down in summer, you can just enter the village. You can enter the church and everything.
Oh,
That
so
it's
cool.
normally underwater. Yes. Yeah,
And
it's
where
very.
is where is that, Mar? Whereabouts is that in Spain?
It's called Sau, the Lake of Sau, and it's like an hour away from where I am in the north. Yes,
Okay.
in Barcelona, well, the province. And
Mm.
it's creepy because you think, wow, this is always underwater. You know, when you're inside, like maybe in 2 months, this would be completely flooded. There's a lot of legends and a lot of
And it's loads of like kind of like watery stuff left in the summer, like you can see like plants and all like,
exactly.
you know,
It's
all
all
that
full
stuff.
of, yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's so
There's all
cool.
these legends about, because you see like there are color fishes in that lake, and
Mm.
they say that they are kids that got trapped, that they couldn't leave the village, and they turned into these
Oh.
fishes, and there's a lot of funny legends on it. Yes.
And was there ever anyone write? Did anyone ever write or do? Is there ever a film about it or anything like that?
I
No.
don't think so. I don't think
Oh,
so.
that's
But
for you, Ma. That's yours.
I can write.
Trademark that. Trademark it quickly.
I write a paragraph and I'm bored of myself already. I can draw, but I can write. Okay, let's talk about the nightmare.
Yes, let's talk
Yes.
about it. Absolutely. Yeah. Um,
Okay, tell me about
well,
it.
well, it's just it's a mix of all of different horror genres.
Mhm.
And there were a couple of I think there's one long novella in it which is a gothic horror, kind of an homage, to kind of the gothic horror novels that I've read and what I loved as a
Yeah.
child. So it's quite funny and also hopefully a little bit creepy and ghost story like.
Mhm.
That's kind of one of my favorite things in there. There's also there's a horror. There's also I think it's a quite long short story called Our Friends Electric, which is
Okay.
about basically, I don't want to give much away, but basically about supernatural things happening in a music festival, which
Okay.
I always wanted to do. And it's kind of an idea of a few different things that I want to do in the same vein. That's the first story of it. And I want to do an idea of a load of women that just travel the festival circuit. And
Yes.
they're beautiful, they're young, and there's a reason why they stay beautiful and young. They're just going around the circuit,
Ha.
not exactly sirens, but vampiric type festival goers. But no,
Mhm.
there's a mix of there's ghost stories in it. And I'm trying to think what else. There's some contemporary stuff in there as well. There's some
Mhm.
good, I'm quite proud of it. There's some quite freaky, fucked up stuff in there too. Excuse me. You know, I mean, one time, this just says it about me. One time I was like, as you do, trying to make ends meet, and I was doing some looking after kids for a couple of days, and I was
Yeah.
writing the other day, and the kids were playing in a playhouse, and then I just wrote this story about called Dragon about this thing, something nasty in the playhouse, type thing.
Yeah.
So you have to
Hmm.
sacrifice a few kids for a good story.
Oh well, that's
And,
part of the job.
yeah, and, there's a couple of things that I wrote that were great fun. That reminded me of my childhood. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say that they're like they're semi autobiographical. In one of them, it's it was kind of like the way I used to be as a child. I would lie awake at night because I used to read a lot of horror, and I was a bit,
Mm.
into the occult and stuff. And I'd lie awake at night and I couldn't sleep. And I'd say, I'm awake. I'm the only person awake in the house, and everybody's asleep. And if something
Yeah.
comes in and something comes down from the attic and goes down the long hall, it's going to come from me because I'm the only one that's awake, and everyone's fast asleep. So anyway, because of this child, because of her imagination, she
Yes.
imagine she hears the sound, and then because from imagining it she makes it real, and then something come down the hall and she's in the room with her sister, which was like I used to be in the room with my sister Miriam. And so she wakes up the sister, and
Yes.
when it wakes up the sister, and then this thing comes into the room and she pretends she's asleep, but the sister's awake, so obviously it goes for the sister.
Yes.
And she closes her eyes and she, basically hopes that when she wakes up in the morning, it's just a nightmare. But, we don't find out whether it is or not because it obviously isn't. So
Mm.
basically sacrifices her sister. So he doesn't get taken, and I was quite happy about that. So that killed off my sister. And there was another thing about, that some people do this. I know I do it when I was a kid. If I was going for a walk, or if I was going my mother sent me to the shop or something,
Yes.
um, I would count how long it would take me to get there, or how many cars would pass me. And if I didn't get to a certain lamppost before, the thing, then I
Yes.
would tell. Normally, someone would say, "Oh, if I don't do this, blah blah blah." But, with me, it would be, "I'll sell my soul to
Yes.
the devil."
Yes.
So I have to get there really quick. So it was a story about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Little kid racing at this game. It's called the game. So it's just kind of a bit of all kinds of mixed up mad stories, really. Some of them hopefully would scare people, and other ones, um, they'd be more creepy. So it's yeah, no, I wrote maybe about five of them after. I think I said this to you before. Binge watching horror shorts, so it gave me a lot of good
Yes.
creative. Normally, I'd say I wrote about half of it around October period of time. I normally come out with something around Halloween. This is the first year that I actually haven't because I wasn't well. But
Yeah.
I have written a few things in the period. But yeah, it was a lot of the stories, I had kind of got together over the years, and some of them I wrote really fast. So
Yes.
it yeah, it's a mix. It's a smorgasbord of
Hmm.
horror.
I think
Mm.
I like it a lot because all of these kids kind of fear. I think
Mm.
that's a big field too, because
Mm.
what is scary about kids is that you never know, or at least in fiction, you never know if it's them, if it's their mind, their imagination, because we've all been scared when we were kids, and you have a wild imagination like that. If I'm the only one awake, I'm gonna be the victim, you know. So why, right? If something comes,
No,
why does it
it's
need you awake? But
right.
it's an
It's like
obsession.
it's like we make up the rules that we have to follow. It's like the puller. If I pull a sheet over my head, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Yes, exactly. It's like the kids
And,
songs. Kids songs are so scary. Well, at least in my
yeah.
country, Spanish kids songs are so disturbing.
Yes, they're like yeah. It's like the same in our country. The little rhymes and things. They're really messed up.
Yes, just a few days ago, my kid told me they have taught us a new song at the school, one of these typical classic old ones. And I said, okay. And she started singing, and it was about a demon, actually. Yes,
Really?
and it said it was like a funny song, like kind of a Christmas carol, something like that.
Yeah.
And the lyrics said something like, I woke up and I saw a demon in my room. And I told him, for it, like with hair, hairy, furry demon, they don't even want you in hell. And when you tried, yes, and when you tried to escape through a hole, you left your horns in there.
Okay. Nice.
And
That's
I
so
was
good.
like, what? You know? And she said, yeah,
That
it's
is
an old song.
bizarre.
Said, yeah, medieval song, like to burn witches or something. I mean,
That is crazy. And it wasn't Krampus, no. It wasn't a Krampus story song.
no, no, it's about
Mm.
because in my area there's a lot of kids songs about demons because there's Christmas carols that talk about these shepherds. Do you know the religious scene of Jesus being born, and there's the shepherds that are
Yeah,
warned by an angel and all of that. So there's a lot of
yeah.
Christmas carols that go about those shepherds. And there's
Wow.
one of the tales, Christmas tales, are the demon appears to them to try to give them the wrong way so they don't get to the kid. So there's a
Wow.
lot of songs about demons in my
Oh my
area.
God. That's brilliant. That is so funny. Yeah, because the
Yes, I
children
guess. Yes.
happily singing demon songs.
Yes. And she was like singing it around the house.
Okay, that's
Demon, they don't even
brilliant.
want you in hell.
Poor demon. That's not fair.
Yeah, the poor demon. Well, I mean, what did he do? Imagine.
Oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. Actually, I watched my first Christmas slash horror last night.
Yes.
It was Krampus.
Mm.
Love that film so much. A real soft spot for Krampus.
Mm. I know.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know he's so good, so cool. I'm
There's
gonna have to.
something there's something about breaking beautiful situations that is very
Yes.
interesting in horror.
I know, and also the fact that Krampus is like in so many countries around the world. They have the Krampus runs, and
Hmm.
and the Austrian one is really cool. With a heavy, they're banging these car radiators or something to make the
Yes.
noise. Oh my, that is so creepy. They're so creepy, and
Yes,
this little kid's
absolutely.
running along, and it's like I love that. It's normal and it's part of like the culture of so many different countries.
Mm.
Saint Nicholas and then his evil twin, and it's like I want something. Why don't we have an island? Why don't because of Catholic Church probably we killed off all the demons. St. Patrick probably killed off the demons as well as the snake.
Yes.
But that is such a cool thing as a kid, to have that to do with Christmas, but probably very scary as well as a
Yes.
child. Do you have Krampus in is Krampus a Spanish thing as well?
No,
No,
no.
really.
I actually never heard of it as a kid. I mean, I've discovered the Krampus figure when I was an adult, like reading
Mm,
and watching movies or
mm,
things like that. But here in Spain, I have never heard it mentioned.
mm.
No,
Yeah, no.
I don't think we have something like we call it like the sackman, something like the boogeyman, something like that we call it
Okay.
the sackman, that it's a sack. Like, have you
Mm.
watched, well, right, yes, the Nightmare Before Christmas, the boogeyman, the
Yes, Oogie Boogie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yes, I
that
know
that
that.
guy, we have something similar here. I guess it's a farmer thing, that's why it's a sack.
Yeah.
Yes, like a
Yes.
straw filled kind of monster that steals kids at night when they are not sleeping, you see. Again.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, yeah, go. I know. Go to bed, children. Yeah,
Yeah,
sack man's gonna come and get
exactly.
you.
If tomorrow
That's
you
kind
want
of
to wake up.
creepy. That's kind of creepy because it's like, it's like a sack, it's like a little bit like Sam, trick or treat.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's actually this typical song which everyone knows here, this lullaby song to dream kids, that everyone sings, like it's very beautiful and very sweet, but what it's actually saying is um child asleep, or this man, like the sagman, will come and will eat you up. That's what it says. So that's
Excellent.
what every kid hears before going to bed.
Yeah, well, whatever works.
Yeah.
I should have used that myself.
I say it's a death threat. You bet it works. If they
Yeah.
don't sleep, they pretend to and are terrified all night.
Oh my goodness.
That's why we are
No.
all nuts here in Spain. That's the
I
reason.
think that's great, though. I do think it is great. I mean, we
Well,
just have the bed bugs will get you. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite.
yes.
The bed
Don't you have
bugs, bite,
disturbing songs for kids?
that's kind of about it, really.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. So I think it's good for the little buggers. They need it. They need a little bit of a scare before bedtime.
They need the pressure.
Yeah, put them in their place. Let them
Life is
realize what
hard.
it's real. Life's hard out there,
Yes.
and just watch your back. That's the main thing. So, listen, did you have a good Halloween? Did you do much for Halloween?
Yes, well, I had an amazing Halloween because I was in the US. I made a
Ooh,
trip.
cool.
Yay. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
nice. So
It
was it?
was fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
is it like Halloween on acid over there, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's like Halloween on acid over there, isn't it? Everything's
Mm,
Halloween. It's all
yes.
massive, big thing.
Yes,
I
it's
love
very
it.
beautiful. Very beautiful. And because I had the chance And I thought, well, let's do it because I hadn't traveled to the US like in 8 years, I think. So I was like, hey, because I've traveled around Europe, which is easier being here, because you only have to
Yeah,
take a train.
yeah, true.
So, but yeah, it was fun. It was beautiful. So now I'm more depressed than other years.
Yeah, I know. Halloween's over, and I just have to plan your next one and that's it. But
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
like this. There's this Twitter account that I found so funny that they have a countdown for Halloween. And the next day after Halloween, they say, there's 364 days for
It sounds
Halloween.
it sounds like the new on the night before Christmas, you know?
That's the spirit.
Yeah, no, it's true though. You have to be so organized.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what is in your career as a writer, everything you've learned, what's the greatest lesson you've learned? What is the advice you would
Um,
give to new authors?
okay, this is the first piece of advice that I will give to new authors. If you want to write, you have to be like, you have to just be like somebody who's just constantly reading and you just have to read. I don't think you can write without having read because that's what spurred me on. It's what inspires me. And also if you really want to get into a certain genre, like
Yes.
you have to read an awful lot of authors of that from that genre. You kind of find your own, I mean, you have your own voice anyway. You know what you're going to write about, but I just think it hones your craft a bit better. I think it's not yeah, some of it's research, but I just think I wouldn't be able to write if I hadn't devoured thousands and thousands of books, and
Absolutely.
it kind of I think it inspires you. And then of course the second thing is it's just it's a discipline thing. If you don't sit down to write, you don't feel like doing it. You might
Yeah.
not write much one day, and then another day you might write, you might write pages and pages, or then you might be able to, have to stop yourself because you're writing too much. But like nobody wants to get down and do it.
Yeah.
We love the ideas and we love the research. Um, but making yourself sit down at the table and do it is so physically hard sometimes.
Yes.
But then when you sit there and do it, I mean, you do something, it's ridiculous because it's something that you really love doing. And it's something that, I mean, for me, writing's the only thing that makes sense in my life, at the moment, because it's so insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, but getting me to sit down and do it, there's so many things that I could be distracted with. I'm very
Yes.
easily distracted
Me too, with
continuously.
every fly. Yes.
Yeah. And I've got so many different interests in random things, but at the same time, if I don't sit down and write, then I'm not going to do anything. And that's what I'm about. So I have to
Mm.
do it. So, and the better you get, your writing gets better and better. You think you're amazing when you sit down and you write something, hey, I've written this and all that. And then when you leave it alone, for a little bit of time to percolate, and then you come back and then you go, oh, bloody hell. But the main thing is to get the words down. Don't worry about your first draft. Get your first draft down, and then it's amazing. You've written a short story. You've written a lovely piece of content, or you've
Mm.
written your latest novel. But you go back then, and then it'll end up being something completely different anyway.
Mm.
The characters go off and do their own thing. But yeah, it's just read it, read the genres you're interested in, and sit down and bloody do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anyone put you off, you know,
Yeah.
because there always will be people, who don't get it that you're writing, and you know, it's only really your own tribe of people who are, writers and who are doing the same thing that really kind of get it. So just don't let people put you off. Like, who do you think you are? Because
Yeah.
as a writer and a creative,
Mm.
imposter syndrome eats you up,
Yes.
So,
Mm.
like, and if you let it,
Mm.
it really can. So you just have to just put aside, do your promotion if you've got a book out or whatever. Put aside, do all that kind of stuff, and then just put everything else out of your head. Throw the phone away and just sit down and do it. Sit down and write it.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
that's so important. As you say, I think even more in creative jobs,
mm,
because first you need inspiration, even whether if you
Mm.
write or you, I don't know, if you draw, you do whatever, you need to read, you
Mm.
need to get soaked in
Yeah,
whatever you're doing, because you
that's
might have
it.
a wild imagination, but you need others' influences to, so to
Yeah.
speak. And also the discipline is so important, because even doing something that you love, as you say, because
Mm.
you could be doing something very boring instead, and you're doing the discipline needs to come in the parts that they are not as fun, maybe in writing, the editing, or structuring a
Mm.
book, or what is not just the fun part of writing a gore
Mm.
scene, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, it's like my job. I love my job so much. It's so fun. But even like that, I have to, no, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna finish, because anything can be all fun and games. So yeah, I think that's a terrific advice for anything in life, really.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
you get what you put in, don't you? You know, and if you really, really are determined to do something, you'll make it happen anyway. But it is hard work, and I wish I could take my own advice, because it's really good advice. But
That's
no,
difficult.
to do with oh shit, where are you gone? Sorry, I knocked you off. There we
What?
go. I pressed something by mistake, you know.
Okay, then
But
just
no,
yes.
just get on with it, and just
Oh,
to me the procrastination is the worst, and that's my fault, and I really need to work on that. But then sometimes if I get something, sometimes I can find something interesting through procrastination that I can use. So sometimes it works out, but yeah,
yeah.
just yeah, knuckle down and do it, and that's it.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same. Okay, then. It's so lovely to talk to you, but we need to wrap up. We're running out of time. Thank you so
I know.
much
No,
for
you're very
being here.
welcome. Thank you for having me, and have an awesome rest of the day, and have a lovely
Mm.
weekend.
You too. It's true. It's Friday.